This video is brought to you by my $50 patron, Elise Trash for Skinco. If you guys like my content and want to help support the channel, consider becoming a channel member through any of the links in this video's description. The jaguar is an animal long revered throughout Central and South American civilizations. Some see it as a symbol of war and death, while others consider the jaguar to be a protector of shamans as they navigate the earth and other realms. Many stories of the jaguar are passed around verbally among native tribes in South America, including one from the Jay Indians regarding the primeval flame. According to the legend, without fire, people survive in the wild without cooking their food. At best, they sanitize their hunted game by having it bask in the sun. Things change, however, when a young boy finds himself stranded in the forest while hunting macaws. He stumbles upon a ferocious jaguar who, instead of killing him, shows him kindness. The jaguar takes the boy back to its cave, which is lit by a warm log fire. Upon this fire, the jaguar cooks meat and feeds the boy until he can regain his strength. Selfishly, the boy constructs himself a bow and arrow, and when the jaguar is out hunting, he takes the flaming log and brings it back to his village. He shows his people how to cook, and he protects his stolen loot with his newly built weapon. Variations of this tale exist, yet they all demonstrate how humans glean great wisdom and power from nature, gaining the knowledge of fire through exploiting the jaguar's kindness. According to ancient Olmecs, the jaguar is a divine being mixed with human blood, or rather, a human deified with the traits of a jaguar. Broadly speaking, this jaguar-human hybrid, or were-jaguar, is a form of Nawal, a man with the power to shapeshift into animals. Belief in the Nawal presumes that humans each have their own spirit animals, and through spiritual insight, they can transform into their tonal animal counterpart. This has special significance to those who worship Nawal, but in terms of magecraft, guardian spirits result from merging an animal or nature spirit with the human soul. It combines the spiritual superiority of animals with a human's knowledge and values. According to this belief, brave warrior men are able to turn into jaguar hybrids. The most famous of these Nawal happens to be the malevolent Aztec spider god Tezcatlipoca. This deity is known for rivaling the virtuous Quetzalcoatl, managing to prevail by getting Quetzalcoatl intoxicated. Some legends state that Tezcatlipoca himself could transform into a jaguar, while others say that he has a Nawal that does his bidding. Regardless, this association with a god famous for human sacrifice has made the jaguar a divine being to be feared. While never historically tied to a single person or creature, the various myths and beliefs around the jaguar syncretize into a generalized concept known as the Jaguar Man, a concept that becomes recorded into the throne of heroes. To actually manifest as a servant, however, there is a catch. Divine spirits, or gods of overwhelming strength, cannot materialize as heroic spirits unless they limit their divinity within the body of an ordinary human. As such, when Jaguar Man appears as a servant, it does so with an unexpected vessel. In the modern era, Japan is often seen as a wonderfully safe place. However, lurking in the shadows of Fuyuki City, a twisted conflict known as the Holy Grail War is fought. Mages summon heroic spirits to compete for a wish-granting chalice. Fuyuki's citizens are none the wiser to this ritual, instead going about their days blissfully ignorant. Among these residents is a branch of the Yakuza known as the Fujimura group. The family's patriarch is Taiga Fujimura, a wealthy landowner with considerable influence throughout the city. Despite his intimidating exterior, he is quite doting to his granddaughter, a young girl named Taiga. Taiga's father married into the family, and ever since she was born, she has been subjected to their anything-goes attitude. As a result, Taiga Fujimura is equal parts cheerful and ferocious. When not practicing kendo, she is clumsy and irresponsible, but that never stops her from trying to bring happiness to others. While attending Fuyuki's Homurahara Academy, Taiga is idolized as the rising star of her kendo club, earning the nickname Tiger of Fuyuki. Sadly, she hates her name and resents those who blindly call her Tiger. Doing so is dangerous, as her skills with a shinai are quite formidable. Even as a teenager, she reaches 5th dan, and if it weren't for her etiquette, she likely would have dominated in tournaments. Taiga chooses to put a tiger-striped charm over her favorite shinai, the Tora shinai. But because this is seen as disrespectful in official competitions, she is banned from tournaments despite her skill. Even so, her reputation as a fierce tiger spreads throughout the school, and her enthusiastic nature brings her long-lasting friendships with her classmates, Reikan Ryudo and Otako Hotaruzuka. She never realizes it, but Fuyuki's 4th Holy Grail War begins right under her nose. During the war, Otako's family runs a liquor store, and when its finest barrel of wine is stolen, Taiga takes to the streets at night to search for the culprit. Hot on the thief's trail, she accidentally falls from a rooftop, encountering the master, Waver Velvet, and his rider-servant, Iskandar. Naively, she doesn't realize that her new friends are actually the ones responsible. Hearing her story, Iskandar finds Taiga's willingness to help a friend in need to be admirable. As they speak, Taiga notices a puppy caught in the river, and so she dives in to save it. Waver and his servant help out, and afterward, they're amazed by her altruism. Waver in particular finds Taiga's pleasant attitude cute, and so Iskandar tries to hook him up. Instead, however, the three of them wind up having a one-night adventure, catching an underwear thief and reuniting the puppy with its owner. When asked about her own personal worries, Taiga mentions her love and school lives, as well as her future. Regarding the latter, Waver and Iskandar recommend her to become a teacher one day, as the occupation fits her kind nature. Taiga takes this advice to heart, but is still insistent on finding the wine thief. Unwilling to reveal themselves, Waver and Ryder try sending her home for the night, but when she persists, Waver is forced to use a hypnosis spell on her. With the war in progress, Fuyuki really is dangerous when the sun goes down. Later on, in order to make it up to Taiga and Otako, Waver sends a dozen barrels of high-class London red wine to Otako's house. Taiga will never know the full extent of this, but the Holy Grail War came to a violent end, with one of its masters, Kiritsugu Emiya, managing to survive and adopt an orphaned child, Shiro, from the wreckage. Kiritsugu has been using a large Japanese estate purchased from the Fujimura group, and he stays in this home for his remaining years. The acquisition of this home leads to a friendship with Raiga, and by association, Kiritsugu also meets Taiga. Believing it to be love at first sight, Taiga immediately develops a crush on this older man, and she takes every chance she can to visit. She has no idea about Kiritsugu's life as a mage, only aware that he often travels overseas for work, leaving poor Shiro alone back in Japan. Because of this, Taiga babysits Shiro, and while they initially argue with one another, they eventually form a familial bond, with Shiro calling her Fujine, meaning older sister Fuji. Taiga's feelings for Kiritsugu are never requited. He is a broken man with a traumatic past, and while Taiga does seem to resemble his childhood crush, Shirley, he never sees her as the woman she'd like him to. Instead, he tutors Taiga, challenging her by only ever speaking English. For as much as he helps her studies in this regard, she also provides him insight. One day, while sparring in kendo, Taiga and Kiritsugu discuss how to help Shiro grow as a person. She's already supported Shiro as he picked up cooking, but now she suggests he pick up a sport or something else to apply himself to. Unaware of her full impact, she inadvertently gives Kiritsugu the push needed to start teaching Shiro a tiny bit of magecraft. Kiritsugu tries not to show it, but his body is cursed by the Grail's mud. In only a handful of years, this curse slowly but surely takes his life. Raiga and the practitioners at Ryudo Temple pour their all into Kiritsugu's funeral, and as a gesture of goodwill, Raiga Fujimura takes over managing the Emiya estate, inheriting its costs and property taxes so that Shiro can keep his home. At the same time, Taiga steps up from being a figurative big sister to becoming Shiro's permanent legal guardian. Even in this role, it seems Taiga relies on Shiro to do all the cooking, making her seem like a freeloader in her own home. In return, she studies hard and becomes a teacher at her old high school, specializing in the English she learned from Kiritsugu. As a former athlete, she supervises the archery dojo, creating a wholesome academic environment for Shiro and his classmates. Her chaotic nature still remains, causing her to just barely arrive to her classes on time, and for as klutzy as she is, all of her students know that she's reliable and cares about them. When it comes to her precious Shiro, however, she is fiercely protective, only trusting those with extreme diligence or intellect. Taking pride in her kendo skills, she's ready to challenge anyone who makes a move on her loved ones. Taiga is 24 years old when Shiro becomes involved in Fuyuki's fifth and final Holy Grail War. This Taiga, in her prime as a lively high school English teacher, leaves an impression on the world. Of all the people in the world with a connection to the Holy Grail, she is selected as a vessel for Jaguar Man for her undeniably wild aura and behavior. This makes Taiga and the Jaguar compatible, even in worlds where Taiga grows up under different circumstances, including timelines where there are no 4th or 5th Grail Wars. In one such world, all of humanity becomes threatened when the demon god hivemind Getia incinerates all of human history. Getia establishes 7 singularities to serve as detonation points for this ritual, and in the oldest singularity of Babylonia, Jaguar Man is summoned as a stray servant. The true reason behind this summoning is unknown. Perhaps it is because Quetzalcoatl is also summoned to this period in time. The leading theory suggests that Jaguar emerged in lieu of Tezcatlipoca, summoned as a surrogate of sorts. As a servant, Jaguar manifests within Taiga Fujimura's body, fitting for the very concept of a Nawal. Thus, for as feared as the Jaguar is, she shares both Taiga's overwhelming charm and quirks. In this form, her affiliation to Tezcatlipoca is dwarfed by her sincerity to watch over the people of Babylonia. In this endeavor, she and Quetzalcoatl team up, or rather, Jaguar accepts being subordinate to Quetzalcoatl as they look after the cities of Ur and Eridu. The singularity is in danger from the cruelty of Gorgon, one of 3 goddesses opposing the Sumerian capital of Uruk. Quetzalcoatl appears to ally herself with Gorgon, but in truth, she and Jaguar are training people to fight back. Under the guise of human sacrifice, the 2 of them gather able-bodied men in order to build an army. Because of this, Jaguar Man looks like a villain when humanity's savior, Ritska, the only surviving master of Chaldea, comes to investigate the missing villagers. Jaguar's strength and speed are incredible, allowing her to repel Ritska and their servants all by herself. This strength is bolstered when she's in the jungle or surrounding forests. Following this logic, her noble phantasm, Jaguar in the Black, dark forest where the Jaguar lurks, grants her a form of stealthy presence concealment at night. Though Taiga is known for her kendo, Jaguar fights with an elongated club, as well as a skill called Jaw of the Dark Jungle, which lets her fire beams of energy at her foes. When channeling her second noble phantasm, Great Deathclaw, the inescapable claw of death, her club grows to gigantic proportions, allowing her to smash it down with a raging, unavoidable force. For as strong as she is, she still pales in comparison to Quetzalcoatl's might, and so she falls in line with Quetzalcoatl's ambition. This continues until, a couple of fights later, Ritska appeals to Jaguar's beauty and fame through flattery. Unable to oppose such praise, she joins Chaldea's crew as they confront Quetzalcoatl. After a dramatic battle to prove their resolve, Ritska convinces Quetzalcoatl to abandon her pact with Gorgon, taking a different approach to saving the Singularity's humans. Going forward, Jaguar Man is put in charge of supervising Quetzalcoatl's winged serpents. The 2 of them aid Uruk in its war against demonic beasts, and when Quetzalcoatl accompanies Ritska in a direct assault on their true enemy, Tiamat, Jaguar stays behind to guide Uruk's citizens. Jaguar plays a supportive role, and even though she isn't there to personally fight Tiamat, she winds up saving Quetzalcoatl when everyone else thought she had died. With Tiamat's defeat, both Jaguar and Quetzalcoatl disappear. For the moment, they have done their part to save humanity from destruction. That said, Ritska is fortunate enough to summon Jaguar Man as a proper servant of Chaldea. In this capacity, she is able to continue fighting on behalf of human history. As a Chaldean servant, Jaguar has the opportunity to connect with heroic spirits tied to her life as Taiga Fujimura. This includes Archer Emiya, the servant form of Shiro, a pseudo-servant merged with Sakura, and Ishtar, who is similarly merged with Rin. Most importantly, though, in this miraculous form of an afterlife, Taiga is finally able to reunite with Kiritsugu, who has taken the form of an assassin servant. This reunion is tainted with a tinge of irony, however. None of these pseudo-servants directly recall their past lives. Yet, they nonetheless feel their historic connections, acting as though nothing at all has changed between them since their days in Fuyuki. Back then, Taiga was their teacher, and that aspect of her personality emerges within Jaguar as well, causing her to try and enforce school regulations on the other servants. Regarding her new master Ritsuka, Jaguar is proud, demanding others earn her trust. As a charming quirk of sorts, Jaguar recognizes her master's daily diligence by handing out Jaguar stamps. By collecting enough of these paw prints, Ritsuka gains Jaguar as a loyal ally and friend. This effort pays off, as Jaguar helps fight alongside Ritsuka in order to save the human order from incineration. Through the body and mind of an outgoing human, the fierce deity known as the Jaguar becomes a valuable asset to the survival of all humanity. Thanks for watching!
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to OtakuDaiKun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
celebrate your fandom!
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters. Video Gamer 75, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, The Nonchalant Ostrich, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Lord Omaguden, Free Brick, RNG or Shuffles 1498, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Link Pendrago, Observer Bellis, Flash Daniel, Hilden Yarbrough, Horseman of Justices, James Hewitt, Uncanny EXP, Matthew McAfee, Game King 352, Caitlin P., Vladimir Rovna, Succubus Sakura, Normace, Jonathan Padua, The Taz 96, President Irna Vladimirovna Putina, Maxwell's Demon, and SF Giants fan Mike. Thank you all so much.